Hello, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe because I'm sure you would enjoy the materials on this channel. And if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for coming back. So today we are in the US at the Northern Illinois University in search of masters and PhD opportunities. First of all, we'll be looking at opportunities for spring instead of fall. So spring is the intake in March, April, thereabout, while fall is usually in August, September. So we'll be looking for first opportunities in April or March, April next year, that's 2023. And of course, you can also use this opportunity to look at opportunities as well in September. So before we proceed, I would like to show you this. And this is the English language requirements for this university. So there is good news if you're from an English speaking country or if your bachelor's degree was studied in English, you do not need to provide either the TOEFL or the IELTS. So this is the list of countries eligible for a test waiver. Quite a lengthy list, and I've seen my country, Nigeria, here already. There are several other countries, and fingers crossed your country is also on the list. I can see Ghana here, can see Fiji, there's Uganda, there's Hong Kong. So if your country is not on the list, kindly read through the requirements here and see if there's any other way to get a waiver in the first place. So let's return to the degree we talked about. And by the way, if you're from India or Pakistan, there are particular kinds of info for you as well when it comes to transcript and other things. So of course you can read this on your own. Let's go to the nitty-gritty of this video. So doctoral programs and master's programs. And usually in the US, you can move directly from a bachelor's degree to a doctoral degree or to a PhD. So if your goal is to do a PhD, you do not need to do a master's in the first place. But I know there are some people who want to just do a master's, probably because they don't want to be a college professor, to not just want a PhD in general. So that's also fine. However, we have more funding opportunities for doctoral programs than for master's programs. Yeah, the US funds more of PhDs than masters in the first place. So if it's a PhD you're going for, please just go for it once and for all. So you should also be aware there are different departments and they might have slightly different admissions requirements. Some might require the GRE, others might not require. So you just check and see which one works for you. So let's look at the chemistry department, for instance. So the chemistry department here, for the spring intake, the deadline is the 1st of October for international students. And to be considered for assistantships, assistantships are just like scholarships. So you work for the department as a research assistant, as a teaching assistant, and then you're given a tuition waiver and also some stipend to hold body and soul together. So if you're interested in studying chemistry at this university, for the spring intake, you have to submit your application on October 1st. Of course, for fall, that's September next year, August, September next year, you need to submit your application by February next year as well. Then let's quickly look at the GRE requirement. So this particular course requires GRE and 3 recommendation letters. However, look at another course. Look at geology, for instance. So geology actually says a similar thing for spring, October 1st, if you're interested, for spring intake. And however, a GRE is not required. So for geology, a GRE is not required. We can also try another course, let's say geography. So for geography as well, it is not required. And for the spring intake, 1st of October. However, there are some courses where There is just one intake every year, one intake per year. Like political science, for instance, there is just the fall intake, and the deadline is 15th January. So you see the variations I talked about, and no GRE requirements. So engage with this and see what works for you. Computer science, check if it works for you. GRE is required here, and the deadline is the 15th of September if you're interested in studying political science at this university for the spring intake. While for the fall intake, you have February. So look at the variations we talked about. Then I noticed something interesting for the for biology department or biological sciences. There is no intake for international students for spring. So that's why this is vacant. But I think you have for American students. I think the same with their masters as well. So for master's courses for chemistry, for instance, you have something similar to what we've seen earlier. For spring intake, you have 1st of October to be considered for assistantships. You also need a GRE. But for biology, you can see here biological sciences. There's also an empty box. So be careful and check the particular information pertaining to your own department. There's also a catalog there to give you a summary of the department and how to apply and things like that you're meant, of course, to read on your own. And for most departments, you're required to contact them directly. Look for a professor whose interest align with yours in the department because you're going to be working with a professor there. So you might need a professor in that department whose research interest align with yours. If you can't find a professor, you can always send them an email directly to the contact person and say, "Hey, do I need to find a professor? This is my research background. This is what I intend to do. Could you suggest, or do I need to do that on my own?" You can also contact these people, and I think they'll be very happy to help you. You can always go to the department page as well and look for the different professors and their research interest as well. So, one more thing before we go, because a number of people might crucify me if I don't say this, and it's about the application fees. So you have an application fee of $60. I think I saw it here. Yes, $60 application fee. And it also says here that the graduate school handles the application, or your department has to recommend you um, to get the admissions in the first place. So if you have a problem with this $60, I would suggest that you also contact the department and ask if they can also waive it because you don't know, it might just be possible. But it's here $60 if you intend to apply for this, for any of the courses we've seen. So I hope this was useful, guys. PhD master's opportunities at the Northern Illinois University in the US. As usual, we cannot wait to celebrate you. There are several materials on my channel already, different assorted scholarships that you can apply for. So now there are numerous opportunities. There's no excuse to sleep on this. There's no excuse to be lazy. So get to work, start putting your documents together, and we'll see you at the top sooner than later. Do not forget to subscribe, and bye bye for now.